Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking coin in your hand, something so common that millions of people have overlooked it for decades. Yet hidden within its copper surface lies a story that could shock collectors and casual viewers alike. Because the 1-cent United States coin from 1981 is far more than just pocket change, it is a piece of history, a transitional artifact, and in rare circumstances, a coin that can be worth an unbelievable fortune, even rumored, in extreme cases, to reach values as high as $135 million under the most extraordinary conditions, and that alone makes it one of the most fascinating coins to explore in detail. To truly understand why this coin matters, you need to go back in time to an era when the United States Mint was facing rising metal costs, inflation was affecting production, and the government had to make a critical decision about how to continue producing the penny without losing money. And the year 1981 sits right at the edge of a major transformation. Just before the composition of the coin changed forever in 1982, making the 1981 penny one of the last representatives of a long-standing metallic tradition. This coin carries the iconic design that has been familiar to generations, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate his 100th birthday, and this portrait shows Lincoln facing right, with strong detail in his facial features, giving the coin a sense of dignity and historical weight, and just above his head, the motto, "In God We Trust," is clearly engraved, while the word, "Liberty," appears on the left side, and the year, 1981, is placed on the right, completing a layout that has remained largely unchanged for decades. Now when you turn the coin over, the reverse side reveals the classic Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 until 2008, and this structure is not just symbolic, it actually contains a hidden detail that many people miss, because if you look very closely, you can even see a tiny depiction of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, making it one of the rare coins where the same person appears on both sides. A subtle yet fascinating artistic choice that adds depth to the coin's design. One of the most important aspects of the 1981 penny is its weight and composition, because this is where things start to get truly interesting, as these coins were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them a weight of approximately 3.11 grams. And this heavier copper composition is exactly what sets them apart from the lighter pennies introduced just 1 year later, which weigh only 2.5 grams due to their zinc core. So if you ever find a 1981 penny, one of the first things collectors do is check its weight, because that alone confirms it belongs to the older, more valuable metal category. Another detail that cannot be ignored is the mint mark, which tells you where the coin was produced. And in 1981, pennies were minted in 3 different locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each of these has its own significance, because coins without a mint mark were made in Philadelphia, those with a small d came from Denver, and those marked with an S were produced in San Francisco, often as proof coins with higher quality finishes and sharper details. The rarity of the coin does not come from its basic version alone, since millions were produced, but rather from specific variations, errors, and conditions that elevate its value dramatically, and collectors are constantly searching for coins that have unusual characteristics such as double strikes, off-center designs, or minting mistakes, because these imperfections can turn an ordinary penny into a highly sought-after collectible worth thousands, or even millions in extreme cases. And then comes the condition, which plays a massive role in determining value, because a coin that has been in circulation for decades will naturally show signs of wear, scratches, and discoloration, but a coin that has been preserved in near-perfect condition, with its original shine and sharp details intact, can command a much higher price, especially if it is graded at the highest levels by professional grading services. What truly captures attention, however, is the idea that a simple 1-cent coin could be associated with massive value figures like $135 million. And while such numbers are often tied to extremely rare scenarios, unique errors, or hypothetical collector demand, they highlight the incredible potential hidden in everyday objects, reminding us that even the smallest piece of currency can hold unimaginable worth under the right circumstances. As collectors continue to study and analyze coins like the 1981 penny, they uncover deeper layers of history, craftsmanship, and economic change, making each coin not just a piece of metal, but a story frozen in time, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And this is exactly why the 1981 1-cent coin remains a subject of fascination, mystery, and excitement among numismatists and treasure hunters alike. As the story of the 1981 1-cent coin continues to unfold, the deeper you go into its background, the more you begin to realize that this small coin is closely tied to one of the most critical transitions in modern U.S. coinage, because by the early 1980s, the cost of copper had risen so much that producing each penny was becoming more expensive than its actual face value. And this created a serious economic concern for the government, forcing the United States Mint to experiment with alternative materials. And although the official change happened in 1982, the year 1981 stands right at the edge of this shift, making it one of the final years of the traditional copper-based penny, and that alone gives it a special place in the timeline of American currency. Collectors often describe the 1981 penny as a pre-transition coin, meaning it represents the last full year before a major composition change. And coins from such periods are always closely examined because they sometimes include experimental strikes, unusual planchets, or rare variations that were produced during testing phases. And while these are extremely difficult to find, their existence is what fuels the excitement and speculation around the coin's potential value, especially when stories circulate about rare examples selling for astonishing amounts. When examining the design more closely, you start to appreciate the craftsmanship behind it, because the portrait of Abraham Lincoln is not just a simple engraving, it is a refined sculpture created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials, VDB, can actually be found on the coin, although they are very small and located near the base of Lincoln's shoulder, and this detail is often overlooked by casual observers, but for collectors, it is a signature element that adds authenticity and artistic significance to the coin. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design was created by Frank Gasparo, and it remained in use for nearly 5 decades, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history, and its architectural detail is remarkable considering the small size of the coin, because the columns, steps, and overall structure are carefully represented, and as mentioned earlier, the tiny figure of Lincoln inside the memorial is one of the most fascinating hidden details ever included in a circulating coin, a feature that continues to amaze collectors even today. Now when it comes to rarity, the conversation becomes even more interesting, because while millions of 1981 pennies were minted, not all of them are equal in the eyes of collectors, and certain factors can dramatically increase their desirability, such as mint errors, die variations, and especially proof versions, which were struck with specially prepared dies and polished planchets to create a mirror-like finish. And these proof coins, particularly those from the San Francisco Mint with the S mark, are often kept in pristine condition, making them highly attractive to serious collectors. One of the most talked about aspects of coin collecting is the discovery of error coins, and the 1981 penny is no exception, because there have been reports of coins with double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process, as well as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong metal. And while these errors are rare, they are exactly what can push a coin's value from a few cents to thousands or even millions, depending on the uniqueness and condition of the error. Another critical factor is grading, which is the process of evaluating a coin's condition on a standardized scale, typically from 1 to 70, and coins that achieve grades in the upper range, such as MS65 or higher, are considered to be in mint state, meaning they show little to no signs of wear, and a 1981 penny in such condition, especially with a strong strike and original luster, can be significantly more valuable than a circulated example, and when you combine high grade with rarity or error features, the value can increase exponentially. The idea of a 1981 penny reaching a value as high as $135 million may sound unbelievable, and in most cases, such figures are associated with extremely rare or hypothetical scenarios, but they serve an important purpose in capturing attention and highlighting the hidden potential within coins, because history has shown that certain rare coins, under the right circumstances, have indeed sold for millions, and this keeps the dream alive for collectors who carefully examine every coin they come across. Beyond its monetary value, the 1981 penny also holds cultural and historical significance, because it represents a time when the United States was adapting to economic challenges, and the decision to change the composition of the penny reflects broader shifts in resource management and industrial practices, making the coin not just a collectible, but a symbol of change and adaptation in a rapidly evolving world. For collectors, finding a 1981 penny is not just about luck, it is about knowledge, patience, and attention to detail, because the true value of the coin lies in its specifics, from the mint mark and weight to the condition and any unique features it may possess, and this is why experienced numismatists often carry magnifying tools and scales, carefully inspecting each coin for signs that could indicate something extraordinary. As the fascination with this coin continues, more people are becoming interested in checking their spare change, hoping to discover a hidden treasure among ordinary coins. And while the chances of finding an extremely rare example are slim, the possibility itself is enough to keep the excitement alive, turning a simple coin into a symbol of curiosity, history, and the thrill of discovery. As you dive even deeper into the world of the 1981 1-cent coin, you begin to understand that the true excitement does not just come from what the coin is, but from what it could be, because in the world of coin collecting, possibilities are everything, and even the smallest variation can completely transform the identity and value of a coin, turning it from a common piece into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And this is exactly why collectors treat every single detail of a 1981 penny with extreme care and attention. One of the most important techniques used by collectors is close visual inspection, often under magnification, where they carefully analyze the lettering, the date, and the fine lines of the design, looking for any signs of doubling, misalignment, or unusual texture, because these subtle differences can indicate minting errors that are invisible to the naked eye, and in some cases, a slight doubling in the word, Liberty, or the numbers in the date, 1981, can signal a double die variety, which is one of the most desirable types of error coins in the entire hobby. Another fascinating aspect is the surface quality of the coin, often referred to as luster, which describes the way light reflects off the metal, and a well-preserved 1981 penny will display a bright, almost glowing appearance, especially if it has never been circulated, and collectors place a high premium on coins that retain this original mint luster, because it indicates that the coin has been carefully stored and protected from environmental damage over the years. The edges of the coin also tell a story, because a standard 1981 penny has a smooth edge, but any irregularities, such as unusual thickness or deformation, could point to a minting anomaly, and while these may seem like minor details, they are exactly the kind of clues that experienced collectors rely on when determining whether a coin might be something special. Storage and preservation play a huge role in maintaining a coin's value, and many collectors use protective holders, capsules, or albums designed specifically for coins, keeping them away from moisture, air, and physical contact, because even a small scratch or fingerprint can reduce a coin's grade and significantly impact its market value, and this is especially true for older copper coins like those from 1981, which are more susceptible to toning and corrosion over time. Speaking of toning, this is another feature that can either increase or decrease a coin's appeal depending on its appearance, because natural toning can create beautiful shades of brown, red, or even rainbow-like colors on the surface of a copper coin, and some collectors actually seek out coins with attractive toning patterns, considering them unique and visually stunning, while others prefer the original bright red color of freshly minted copper, making this aspect highly subjective but still very important in determining value. When it comes to the market, the value of a 1981 penny can vary dramatically depending on all these factors combined, and while most circulated coins are worth only a few cents, uncirculated examples, proof coins, and especially error coins can reach much higher prices, sometimes selling for hundreds or thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare and hypothetical cases, where a coin combines multiple unique characteristics, the value can skyrocket into the realm of extraordinary figures, which is where the idea of a $135 million coin begins to capture imagination. Auctions are where some of the most valuable coins in the world change hands, and collectors from around the globe participate in these events, bidding on rare pieces that have been authenticated and graded by professional services. And while a standard 1981 penny may not attract such attention, a rare variant or error coin from the year could easily become the centerpiece of an auction, drawing interest from serious investors and collectors alike. The role of professional grading services cannot be overlooked, because they provide certification and authenticity, giving buyers confidence in the quality and legitimacy of a coin, and coins that are graded and sealed in official holders often command higher prices in the market, as they eliminate uncertainty and provide a clear standard for evaluation, which is crucial in a field where even the smallest details can make a massive difference. Another interesting factor is demand, because the value of any collectible is ultimately determined by how many people want it, and the 1981 penny, being part of a historically significant period, continues to attract attention from both new and experienced collectors, especially those who are interested in the transition from copper to zinc coinage, making it a key piece in many collections focused on U.S. currency history. What makes this coin truly special is the combination of accessibility and mystery, because unlike rare ancient coins that are nearly impossible to find, the 1981 penny is still out there in circulation, in old jars, drawers, and collections, waiting to be rediscovered, and this creates a unique sense of possibility where anyone, anywhere, could potentially stumble upon a valuable piece without even realizing it at first glance. In the end, the 1981 one-cent coin is not just about its face value or even its potential monetary worth. It is about the journey of discovery, the thrill of searching, and the connection to history that each coin represents. And whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who has just started paying attention to the coins in your pocket, this small piece of copper serves as a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hold the most extraordinary stories. As the journey of the 1981 one-cent coin reaches its final stretch, everything begins to come together, and you start to see the full picture, not just as a collector or a curious viewer, but as someone who now understands how a tiny piece of metal can carry layers of history, craftsmanship, economics, and mystery all at once, because this coin is more than just currency. It is a silent witness to a turning point in time, a moment when the United States was on the edge of changing how its most common coin would be made forever. Think about it. Billions of pennies passed through hands without a second thought, dropped into jars, lost in couches, or spent without even a glance, yet among those countless coins, there is always a chance, however small, that one of them holds something unusual, something rare, something that could completely change its identity and value. And this is exactly what makes the 1981 penny so captivating. because it exists right before a historic shift, carrying the weight, literally and symbolically, of the old copper era. Every detail you have learned, from its 3.11-gram copper composition to the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, from the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse to the tiny hidden figure inside it, from the mint marks of Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco to the possibility of rare errors and high-grade conditions. All of these elements combine to create a coin that is simple on the surface, but incredibly complex beneath it. And this complexity is what fuels the passion of collectors around the world. Now imagine finding one, not just any 1981 penny, but one that stands out, one that feels different in your hand, one that shines a little brighter or shows a detail that others do not. And in that moment, you realize that you might be holding something special, something that has survived decades in remarkable condition or carries a unique flaw that makes it one of a kind. And suddenly, that 1-cent coin is no longer just a coin, it becomes a discovery. The idea of a value reaching $135 million may sound like a dream, and in reality, such a figure would require an extraordinary combination of rarity, historical importance, and collector demand. But what truly matters is not just the number itself, it is what that number represents, the limitless potential hidden in everyday objects. The reminder that value is not always obvious, and that sometimes, the most overlooked items can become the most treasured. Collectors often say that coins choose their owners, not the other way around, and whether or not that is true, there is something undeniably exciting about the possibility that a life-changing discovery could be sitting unnoticed in a small pile of change, waiting for someone with the curiosity and knowledge to recognize it. And this is why people continue to search, to learn, and to explore the world of coins. Because every coin has a story, and some stories are worth more than anyone could ever imagine. So the next time you come across a simple penny, especially one from 1981, do not ignore it, do not dismiss it as something insignificant. Instead, take a closer look, feel its weight, examine its details, check its mint mark, and consider its condition, because you never know what you might find. And in that moment, you become part of the story, part of the journey that turns ordinary into extraordinary. And that is the true magic of the 1981 1-cent coin, not just its design, not just its history, not even its potential value, but the sense of wonder it creates, the curiosity it inspires, and the possibility it represents, because sometimes, the smallest things in life carry the greatest secrets, and all it takes is one careful look to uncover them, turning a single cent into something priceless in ways that go far beyond money.